Hello. There he is. It's like a Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 114 of the Love in Stitches podcast. Today is Friday, August 13th, I think. Oh my gosh, it's Friday the 13th. I forgot about that. I think it's the 13th. Yes, it is. And we are here in Tennessee again. I'm actually going home tomorrow, but I wanted to get one podcast in before I left, and I'll be back in New York for, I don't know, the next little while here. So I am in the same spot that I was in for the Q&A video from last week, in one of the bedrooms that I stayed in growing up here in my parents' house. My parents have lived here in Tennessee, oh my gosh, for 27, no, that's not right, how old am I? 25 years, I believe. So this is where I grew up for most of my life here in Tennessee. It's been a really lovely week. I'll talk more about that towards the end of the episode though. So I am wearing my Summerstock Camp t-shirt. It's been one of my favorite t-shirts all summer. I got like a women's cut, so it's like fits me nicely with my body shape, and it's nice and long and not too short, and it doesn't ride up. And I've been enjoying wearing it all summer, but I was like, I want to wear it a couple more times before Summerstock Camp is actually over. I haven't submitted anything for Summerstock Camp, but I have been really like knitting a lot of socks this summer. So I feel like I could enter some new things, but have I done any new techniques? I don't think so. Drinking my second cup of coffee here because it is still morning. Yep, it's only 11, so it's still morning. Yep, we got some good stuff coming up in today's episode. I've actually finished some things, finished one thing, I think, and I am really close to finishing some other projects. So let's dive right in. Let me show you my finished object for the week in my White Rose Fiber Company bag. Maybe not. Dun, da, da, da. There, it's nice and clear and focused and upside down for you. White Rose Fiber Company. We're back. Anyway, from Shark Week, this was one of my Shark Week socks. This is my second finish for actual Shark Week. So I finished these color palette socks. The yarn I'm using is from Moonglow Yarn Company, and it was a set that came with 100 grams of the gray and a 10 gram mini of each of these 6 colors. And it turned out so cute. The color palette pattern, I will have the name and the link down below because I can't remember who designed it, but it's a really cute pattern. I did make quite a few modifications on it. So I knit mine from the toe up instead of the cuff down. I did not put the texture on the bottom of the sock. I thought that would be really uncomfortable to have that texture, so I eliminated that. The original one, I believe, has 6 colorworks, like color blocked sections, although I don't think it has, I'm sorry, the original one I think has 7 sections, and I did 6 because I have 6 colors, and I subbed in my favorite Fish Lips Kiss heel instead of the heel flap and gusset. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. So I love being able to adapt my socks to basically be knit how I already know how to knit them and, go well with the yarn. So I think they turned out super, super cute. They are for me. I haven't blocked them yet since I finished them here, and all my blocking stuff is at home, but they fit pretty well. I mean, I do always have a harder time when I'm using an 80-20 base and knitting on size 2s, but I think I got a good fit. So I'm really pleased with these. I think they're adorable, and they will be blocked when I get home and put away with the other socks that I have finished recently to hopefully be worn in the winter time. Now I do have a lot of this yarn left over. Oh, actually, nope, that's the other one. This is the logo. It's the Moon Glow logo. Why is that so hard to say? But that's for a different yarn. I'm actually using the same base for something else. So I am left with a ton of the main color of the gray. And I haven't weighed them yet. I didn't bring my notions with me. I totally forgot. But I bet I have about 5 grams of each of these. So I am going, maybe 4 or 5. So I think eventually I will use this and these to make another pair of socks, but make them mostly gray and use up a lot of that gray yarn. So that might be in the near future, because I know if I don't do it in the near future, I will never do it. So I need to get that started. My goodness. I haven't talked a lot today, so I'm like out of breath, weirdly. Okay, next project. I am nearly done with these. This will be my last sock week project in my Baby Shark bag from Nanny's Attic Creations. It's perfect for a pair of socks. I am using Tia's Terrific Threads, and the colorway is called 12 Feet Deep. It's a self-striping colorway. This one is also an 80-20 base, but it's a little thinner, so I just use my regular size 1 needles. So I'm gonna have to see like when I try them on if they fit the same as my 75-25 or not. So I have done so much knitting. I don't remember which one. Basically when I arrived in Tennessee, this one of them, we'll just say it's this one, was totally finished with the waist yarn for the heel in, and the other one had like this like 3 rows, like the red at the top wasn't even done. And I went nuts on it yesterday, and I knit so much. I knit like, I don't know, I think, no, I had just gotten down to the waist yarn of the heel, and I did all of the foot and toe yesterday. Plus, as you can see, since both of these have needles in them, I went ahead and got the heels ready. So I put the needles in, I picked out the waist yarn. There, that's a little better. Nice and bright. I picked out the waist yarn, and these are both ready for heels. So my plan next is I have just 1 ball of yarn. So I don't want to, I thought about winding off the yarn I need for the heel, but I don't know exactly how much I'm gonna need yet. So basically I'm gonna unwind these colors. I'm right at the light gray. And so I'm gonna unwind here. Why would that, okay. I'm going to unwind from the light gray to the color that I need for the heel, which I can't remember which color I decided on. I hope I put it in my Ravelry notes. Usually I put a lot about how I'm knitting my socks in my Ravelry notes. So if you're ever curious, go to my Ravelry page, and I typically have things in there like how many I cast on, how many rows I've done, all of my sort of basic formulas for my socks. So I'm not doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel here. I'm doing an afterthought heel. With waist yarn. I have a tutorial on that. I love, if I have to do an afterthought heel, I don't love doing the afterthought heel, but if I do, I like doing it with waist yarn more. It just, I don't know, makes it a little bit easier. And in self-striping yarn, you don't have to cut out or lose a row of your stripe. You get to maintain all of the yarn that you've put in there. So I like that for self-striping. And I'm gonna go to whatever color I've decided. So here I am in between green and black. So not green or black, basically. And I can't remember. I think I might do, what did I decide? I definitely decided on something. I might be doing bright blue, red, and dark gray. I think that's what I might be doing. And it will make this like beautiful bullseye kind of look for the heel. It looks really, really great. And so I will wind off till I get to there, knit 1 whole heel, finish it off. And then same thing, I will unwind until I get to that point in the stripe again, because I won't do a whole repeat with the heel, and then knit the other heel, and then these will be done. So I want to get these done and finished today. And then all I will have left is 1 sock whip. That will be literally it as far as whips go that aren't designs or scrappy blankets. that will be it. That's all I'll have going if I get these done today, which I think is totally doable. I'm gonna go to the yarn store, Bliss Yarns, here in a little bit and work on those. So very, very happy with all the progress that was made on those. Okay, so my last whip here then is my last sock, and I actually finished another sock. These I cast on the way to Jamaica. Hold on, we're like really caught on something here. What is that? There we go. These I cast on the way to Jamaica. These are my, I think the brand is Yarn O'Clock, but the colorway is called Tropical Flamingo. And I knit from this marker, where are you? From this marker down to the end. And I did most of that. No, I worked on the Moonglow on the plain right here. And then I believe I finished these up, cast on the next one, just barely. And then I decided, you know what? I better get my self-striping socks done first, because those have been lingering for longer, and save these for the plain ride back. So as soon as I finish up the self-striping, which is now on the floor, which is why I keep looking down there, I'm going to get back to these and start working on them. So I love these markers. They're so cute. This one is the Banana Split Asaurus. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. From Deladino, but she's no longer making these. And I haven't quite knit enough. I did get it cast on so that now I can take it with me wherever. If I finish those other socks today, we go to dinner tonight, I'll have something to knit on, but especially on the plane tomorrow. I have now a flamingo marker, totally appropriate for the flamingo colorway. Hello. There he is. It's like a flamingo smoothie. Isn't it so cute? It's also from Deladino, but again, she's no longer making these. So these were like some of the last ones that I got. Very, very happy with my progress here. So far, since I've been home, I finished one sock, one color palette sock. So it's 2 socks, and that finished the pair. And I'm almost done with these other 2 socks. So that will be 4 socks finished today. And then just this last one. It looks like I will be bringing this one home with me. I don't anticipate knitting one entire sock between now and 24 hours from now. And that's completely fine. So it's another sock filled episode, but don't you worry. Next week, I should have a ton of new projects to show you, because it's been sock girl summer. And now it's about to be sweater weather, and I am going to do all of the sweaters. You know what? Sock girl summer. That's really cute. I should put that on a t-shirt for next year. Do you think that will still be a joke next year? Sometimes I come up with things too late. But I am anticipating new projects. So I have created a giant swatch. Look at this swatch. It's like almost as big as my face. I am so proud, way too proud of myself for creating such a large swatch. It is mostly in vain because I don't think I have the right gauge, but you know what? That's what I needed to know. So I am going to be casting on, one of the sweaters I'm going to be casting on for the fall garment make along is the long summer cardigan. So that's what I'm using, this Moonglow Yarn Company in the colorway Aspen. And I'm not just using this light gray, I'm also using the Love and Stitches Fade set, which is a pink set. So let's put a picture of that in here so that if you haven't seen it yet, you can see it. These are still available for purchase. So if you want to get the just the fade set, all the pinks, the Love and Stitches Fade set, you can grab that. It's 3.5 skeins of yarn because they're 50-gram minis. And so you can use that for like a shawl. I know some people are using it in combination with a solid, like I am, to make a variety of patterns. So you don't have to make the long summer cardigan. I know somebody's gonna use all the colors at the, like they're gonna do a neutral top, and then the bottom of their sweater is gonna have the pinks. So up to you, get creative with it. I'm excited to see all of the different projects that come out of it. But I swatched for my long summer cardigan. So I really thought I was planning ahead. And before I left for Tennessee, I put a skein of yarn plus my interchangeable needle kit into my suitcase, and I was like, while I'm there, I will make a nice big swatch. It'll be a good break from my sock knitting, and I'll come home and I'll be ready to just like wind up all my yarns and get cast on because I'll have already swatched. Well, I didn't look at the pattern, even though that's something I always tell everyone else to do, is look at the pattern, look at your patterns before you travel somewhere so you know that you have all the notions, you know all of the techniques, like all of that. Be prepared, basically. And I didn't look at the needle size, and of course, the needle size happened to be the one needle size I didn't bring with me. So my interchangeable set is a US 4 and up. I had sock needles in 1s and 2s, and then guess what size I needed? A 3, of course. The only one that I didn't have. So I thought, you know, I'm a looser knitter. Let me just swatch on a 2. So this entire swatch is on a US 2. The fabric is good. I mean, I definitely think I could go looser. And when I measured, I'm 1 stitch off in 4 inches. I'm 1 stitch too small. So I'm going to swatch again when I get home tomorrow. Go ahead and block it real quick. And then I will have both swatches so I can decide if I want to go with this gauge or the other gauge. Hopefully the other one's a little closer. I think it'll be a little more comfortable to knit on a US 3 for an entire huge sweater. But now I have both to compare, which is great. And I am going to hang on. I do always hang on to my swatches until the end of a project, but especially because this is so much yarn. It's the sweater's knit flat, so I didn't swatch in the round, so I can, if needed in an emergency, take out all this yarn and use it. So I probably won't make my next swatch quite as large, but I will make it larger than my normal like 20 stitches or whatever. So I am all ready to cast on some sweaters for the next few months. We've got some really great questions this week, and I'm all caught up after last week's big Q&A. So happy to be answering the questions now, like not super behind. And of course I thought I had them pulled up, but here I don't. Why do I always do that? I had them pulled up before as I was making notes on how to answer them. Oh me. Okay, here we go. So if you have any questions for me and you want them answered on the podcast, go to the Love and Stitches Ravelry group, click on the Ask Me thread. It is pinned to the top, and submit your questions there. I plan to answer around 4 to 5 weekly, so I should be able to get to your question. All right, first question today is from Pink Sammy 15. I have a question. I am in the middle of making a float tote, and I was weaving in the ends where the color changes from the color of the base to the color of the top. I tied a double knot when I went to weave in one of the ends. It kind of just tore off at the base of the knot. Can anyone help on what to do? Okay, a couple of things here. One, please don't ever tie knots to weave in ends. This is not a secure way to weave in your ends. Depending on what you make too, it's going to be uncomfortable. Like obviously in a tote, you're not wearing it, so it's not going to be bothersome to you. But it's really just not a secure way to weave in the ends. Usually when you tie in a knot, you end up snipping it really short, and then if the knot comes undone, which it sounds like it did here, you have a tiny end to weave in, and you can't really do much with it. But I do have a solution for you. So one, for the rest of the tote, please don't do that. Leave yourself a nice long 8-inch tail, weave it in properly in a zigzag or under your stitches, crochet over it. That works really well for the tote. Deep breath, because I'm still like out of breath for some reason. Okay. Solution. These right here, okay? These are the Susan Bates finishing needles. I love these. I have them linked in my Amazon storefront. You can also get them at your local yarn store sometimes, or at like Joann's or Michael's. I'm actually going to buy some today when I go to Bliss Yarns because I use them so much. I keep losing the smallest size, which is yellow. It's good for fingering weight yarn. I use it and then I lose them, and so then I have to buy a whole nother set, but they're only like $6 or something, so they're not super expensive. So what that does is when you have a tiny end, oh, and you're not the only one. Let me make you feel a little bit better, because on these socks here, I have realized I cut my yarn way too short when I grafted the toe, and look at this tiny little end that I have. So I have a tiny end too. And what that means is with a regular tapestry needle, when you go to weave it in, you don't have enough leeway to actually like maneuver the needle and weave in the ends because the needle itself is so long. When you turn it towards the project, the tail just comes out, right? So what those finishing needles do, what they allow you to do, the eye is literally the whole entire needle. So you can have your end on the, you can have your yarn end on the end of the needle that's closest to the fabric so that you don't have to have a long tail in order to weave it in. Harder to explain, but I promise you it makes things so much easier. So if you're looking to go weave in a tiny, tiny end, these finishing needles can be a huge help. So I would recommend grabbing one of those, and then in the future, do not knot your yarn, and instead leave long tails 5-8 inches so that you can properly weave them in or even crochet over them. Next question is from Addicted to Needles. Hi Natalie, my name is Penny. I'm a huge fan and I've been watching you for a few years. I've decided to tackle the Starflake Shawl by Stephen West. I completely fudged the brioche and wondered if you had any tips on ripping back. It's been sat in a project bag for months as I'm too afraid to rip it back to start brioche again. I'm afraid I might lose stitches. I love your teaching style and hope, fingers crossed, that you can help. Thanks so much. Love your content, especially Toaster. Oh my goodness, I miss Toaster so much. I can't wait to get back and see Toaster. Okay, I have, Penny, yes, I have some tips for you. So I went on the search today on YouTube to find some tutorials for ripping back brioche because it sounds to me like you need to go more than 1 to 2 rows. If you only needed to take out 1 to 2 rows, I would suggest tinking, which would be taking back stitch by stitch. That really helps to maintain the brioche pattern. But if you need to go several rows, that would take forever. So I found a tutorial from the Fiber Crafty, and I will link it in the description box. She shows how you can take another needle and find basically in your brioche piece, find the row before the mistakes where everything looks good, and how to take your needle and go and pick up that row. Then you slide out your needle that's live on the live stitches and you rip everything back. Her tutorial is really good. So I watched it through, so make sure to go watch that. I think it will be super helpful. On pieces that are not brioche, this is exactly what I do. Like on a stockinette piece, I will take my needle and I will go down several rows, pick up the stitches, pull out the live needle, and then rip back. Last step though, sometimes when you do this technique and you pick up stitches with your needle, it can be a challenge to capture every single stitch exactly perfect. So what I will sometimes do is after I've picked up all the stitches, rip it back, I will still tink, which means going 1 stitch at a time, 1 to 2 rows. That way I can double check everything, make sure everything is correct. And again, I'm taking out 1 to 2 more rows. So, you know, that'll kind of allow like mistakes. If you, forgot to pick up a loop or something, it won't matter anymore because as you've tinked, you've gotten everything exactly how you need it. So that would be my suggestion. Follow the video tutorial and then go after that and maybe tink 2 rows, especially for brioche because it's kind of worked in 2 rows. Tink 1 to 2 rows. Make sure all your stitches are there. Make sure everything looks correct, and then you should be good to go. Next question. Why am I out of breath today? This used to happen to me quite often. Do you remember that? When I was in Texas? Maybe it's like an early in the morning thing, even though it's not early, but I don't know. Okay, so this question is from Bork P, I think. What do you think about knitting the long summer cardigan in 100% alpaca yarn? Would it work? Okay. I would be very cautious when knitting a sweater out of 100% alpaca yarn. Alpaca is just super duper, not stretchy, but it like grows so much. So that would definitely be a yarn where I'm making a nice big swatch. measuring it and then blocking it, and then measuring it after and seeing how much it grew, like percentage wise, because that would help you with your sweater. Now, the thing about the long summer cardigan is that the original pattern is made with like a merino silk nylon blend or merino silk blend. And Hohi, the designer, actually factors in growth into her pattern. So like the armholes are not like an inch, you knit the armholes like an inch shorter than they're going to be, because when you block the sweater, it grows an inch. Same with the length of the whole thing. So I'm using a totally different base. I'm using an 80-20. So mine's not gonna grow quite as much. So whereas Hohi is only is knitting an inch short of the actual length, I might only knit a ½ inch short because I don't think mine's gonna grow as much because it's an 80-20. So that being said, can you knit it with alpaca? Yes, but I personally wouldn't, just because of the stretch factor, and then also just the warmth. It's gonna be super, super warm. And I haven't knit with alpaca in a long time, but I feel like I remember it pilled a lot. Like it wasn't as hard wearing as a fiber blended with nylon. So just keep those things in mind. It's not a definite no, it's not impossible, but you want to take care to consider how it is going to block and how it's going to wear as well. This question is from SK St. Clair. Hello, I am hoping you can help me with a sock fit question. My husband loves the knit socks I make him, but they will never stay up. I knit a medium, 64 stitches on size 1 needles. He needs the medium to fit over instep and around the calf, but there seems to be too much material width-wise between the cuff and the heel. Would you change needle sizes or stitch count after the cuff, or something? I am so glad he loves them, but I want to make them better. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay, good question, Sarah. I think this is something that all of us kind of wonder from time to time, like, why aren't my socks fitting? They're falling down, whatever. So I have a couple suggestions for you. One, it sounds like you're knitting the sock from the cuff down, because you said, would you change needle sizes or stitch count after the cuff? So yes, here's a couple things that I would do to help with sock fit. Part of the sock staying up is going to be on the cuff, not necessarily like what's happening around the ankle, because the cuff is what should really be holding up the sock. I'm not saying that doesn't play a role, but the cuff is very important. So the first thing I would try is knitting a longer cuff, like more ribbing row. So I'm not sure how many you do now, but I would recommend about 20 rounds of ribbing. That really seems to help. Also, the type of ribbing that you're doing, if you're doing a 2x2 ribbing, it doesn't really like have the cling factor that a 1x1 ribbing has. So you could try switching up the ribbing and also knitting more ribbing. 20 rounds is not the end all be all. If you want to do 25 or more, try that out. That can definitely help. And then after the cuff, I would suggest decreasing your stitch count, not changing your needle size. So I would probably do about 4 stitches. I think that's probably all you need. So after that cuff round, maybe knit another inch and then decrease, or try it right away. It kind of depends on how tall you're making the socks, and decrease 4 stitches. You could do even all the way around, although that might not look good. You could do like 2 in the back, 2 rounds in a row. Just depends on what's going to look best on the pattern that you're doing and everything. And then you don't want to forget, before you actually knit the heel and foot and everything, you're going to need to increase back to your original stitch count so that you can get enough stitches for the heel and everything. I'd probably do this like an inch, maybe ½ an inch before. Maybe an inch before, honestly. Again, depending on what kind of heel you're doing. So short row heel, I'd do it about an inch before. I'd go back to your original stitch count. If you're doing a heel flop and gusset, you can probably do it like right before. You know, even on a short row heel, you might be able to just do it right before. That's a really good question. But just don't forget to go back to your original stitch count. So longer ribbing, try a different type of ribbing if you're doing a 2x2. And then I would decrease and then increase your stitch count instead of going up or down a needle size. I think that will help a lot. Last question for today from Content Elizabeth 2. Hi Natalie, on your most recent video, which was entirely dedicated to answering questions, someone asked about how to add photos on Ravelry, say for a cow. You said that you had composed a tutorial video which explains how to do all of that, but then you pointed to your Instagram account. Is there any way I can access that tutorial without having an Instagram account? I'm not on Instagram and barely on Ravelry. I'm an older generation knitter and all this techie stuff is hard for me. Thank you, Brenda. Okay, Brenda, I totally understand. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say I might have something, I'm just going to say it anyway. I'm probably going to have something more specific later on YouTube with Ravelry tips in general, but for now, because I don't know when that's coming or if, that's why I hesitate to say things like I make plans and then other stuff that I'm like, I have to share this comes up. So anyway, but I will put the Instagram video in for you here right now so that you can have the tutorial too. Here you go. All right, let's talk about some news. So first of all, we need to close out Second Sock Week, even though it ended over a week ago, maybe more than that. I haven't had the chance to announce the prize winners here on YouTube yet. So they are listed on Instagram underneath the Second Sock Week, like Instagram highlight bubble. They are also on Ravelry. The original post that I have in the prize thread, which had the prizes listed out, each of the winners' names is now underneath them. And I have heard from each of the winners, but I wanted to announce it on here first. So all of our prizes for Second Sock Week were from Ritz Fibers. They were all these beautiful sock sets, super, super cute. So the first sock set, Ocean Waves, went to TX Heather, Texas Heather. The second one in Coral Reef, my favorite, it's so pretty, went to Esther Moses. And then the last sock set in Shark Fin, that was the one that was like tweedy almost. It was super cool. Went to Alamar 73. So thank you everyone for participating in Second Sock Week. We had, let me look at the numbers again. We had 282 entries. So that means 282 finished pairs were completed during Second Sock Week. So hopefully you got lots of your projects done. I ended up finishing 2 pairs of socks. I finished my Suburban Stitcher ones, which were Sock Week socks, but then I finished my String of Hearts socks, which are not Sock Week socks, but I was really happy to have 2 pairs of socks done. And then I just finished another pair this week and hopefully one more today. And then hopefully I'm clearing everything out. I might not even cast on socks. Well, that's not true. I don't know. I don't know if I want to wait till September because it's only August like 13th today. So we'll see if I end up casting on another pair of socks before September or not. I've done a lot of socks this year. A lot lately. Okay, so now we are on to a new make-along. The fall garment make-along started on August 15th, which was this past Sunday. We had a YouTube kickoff party, so much fun. So that is underway, but don't worry if you're just hearing about it now because this is a 3-month long make-along. So for each month of the make-along, and the months are like, they run basically from one month to the other. So like the first installment is August 15th to September 11th, and then the next month starts immediately after. So September to October, and October to November is the end. So they're not quite like a month long. They vary, but all of that information is on my website, knittynatty.com. If you go to the top, it says make-alongs and it drops down and you can find the fall garment make-along. But for each month of the make-along, there will be a new Ravelry prize thread. So the new one is now open. The pre-start one is closed. I only want to have one open at a time. So you can go in there, and as long as you are working on a garment during that month, that means you are knitting on it. There's no real requirement like, knit on it every single day or anything, but like, please just be working on your garment. Don't just like knit 2 stitches and then participate. But of course, this allows a lot of flexibility. So whether you're casting on a new project and finishing it within the make along, or you're working on several different sweater whips you'd started before, it's just a make along to encourage you to work on your garment. So there's a lot of explanation in the rules and everything, but a garment has to be something that is made with the intention of wearing as clothes, but not socks, not shawls, not hats, not cowls. It's not accessories, it's clothing items. So something to cover the body. So the top half or bottom half or both. Sweaters, dresses, like capes and ponchos are fine because they have like neck holes, but shawls are not, okay? That makes sense. These are my rules. But yeah, so as long as you're working on something that falls into that, it doesn't matter what size, you are allowed, you are participating in the make along. 2 ways to participate: chat on Ravelry, that's the easiest one. You can chat as much as you want. Basically, the more that you chat in that thread, so, you know, post project progress pictures, respond to other people's, you know, stuff and say that you like it and ask them questions. The more you chat, the more chances you have to win. I believe I have 7 prizes for the month of August, but I have new prizes each month. So that's also on my website and Ravelry page. And each of these sponsors that is donated a prize for the month. Some of them even have a discount, so you should definitely go check out their shops. There's some really great ones that I'm hoping I might even be introducing them to you for the first time. Some really, really lovely shops and some really lovely prizes. You can also participate on Instagram. That's the second way, and just use the hashtag fall garment MAL, fall garment make along. Same hashtag as last year. We're not adding a 2021 because it's too long. It's too long already. But use that and make sure you post in your feed. And if your Instagram profile is public, then when I go over and click on Fall Garment Make Along, I can see everyone who has posted within that month, and I will pick some prize winners from there as well. So for each new month of the Make Along, and remember, this doesn't mean like the first of the month, it's the installments that I have. They're listed out on the website. We're gonna do a kickoff party. We just had one on Sunday on YouTube. The next one will be September 12th, which is also a Sunday, on Instagram. Then we're going back to YouTube in October. And then at the end of the make along, we're going to try a Zoom. It's gonna be not a Zoom where we can talk back and forth, but a Zoom, well, it might be, it depends. I'll have to see. I'm either gonna do it as like a big Zoom where I just have everyone like, I'm talking, but everyone's there and I can like see your projects, but I have you muted because it will probably be a lot of people, or I'm going to have it as a conference. I haven't decided yet because Zoom has limitations. And so I'm going to basically for that month, I'm going to get like the next package up so I can have lots of people there, more than 100 people there. So we'll see. I haven't gotten there yet, but I just thought it would be so fun for our like wrap up to actually be able to see each other and see everyone's project. So stay tuned for that. But we're hoping to do the very last thing, the closeout on Zoom. It'll almost be like a fashion show because you'll get to show off what you've been working on and making. So check out all the information that will be linked from now until the make along ends in November. Every single episode, every single video, there will be fall garment make along links in the description box below. Something new, I have had the request to put a destash thread on Ravelry. You might have seen it already. So now there is a new thread on Ravelry for destashing. So destashing is when you are, you no longer want an item like a yarn or a bag or something like that, something knitting related, not just stuff. And it's hard because you don't want to just take that to Goodwill. Like, it's valuable, but maybe it's not your color. Maybe it was gifted to you. It doesn't matter. No guilt or shame, but you don't want it anymore. And so you want to get rid of it to give it to somebody who's going to use it, maybe even make a little money off of it so that you don't lose all your money. That's what the destash thread is for. So it's on Ravelry, also at the top with everything else. And I have listed in here some rules. They might have changed from what I'm saying right now to when this gets posted, just because I haven't opened up the thread yet. And once I open it and see how people are using it, I might add a few more rules. Basically, here's how it goes. you can take a picture of something that you want to destash. Please take a separate, at least put a separate post for each item. So let's say you have 4 skeins of yarn and you're willing to ship them separately. You can take one photo, but like you need 4 posts. Like, you know, post the photo and say like, here's the first skein, the blue one. It would be better if you just actually took a picture of each one individually. That would be better. Anyway, so post a picture. If you upload a picture to your stash in Ravelry, then you can use that and like slurp it into the post without having to pay the $5 fee. Okay, so post a picture, that's number 1. With the picture include a description, the cost, and the shipping details. So, you know, describe your item, say how much it costs, and then with your shipping, you can say like, it's included in the price for like the US, or, you know, you'll ship anywhere, you're just gonna charge the cost of shipping, and you'll discuss that with the buyer, whatever it is, and post it. People who want to buy will click the little arrow, reply to thread, and they will say sold. This is why it's important to have one post for each of your items. Because if you have a bunch, if you're like 10 items and everyone's saying sold and different stuff, no, one post per item. As the seller then, you need to go to the first person that says sold, to be fair. Click on their name, it will take you over to their Ravelry profile, and send them a private message. All of the exchange, like all of the conversation about the sale, about, you know, I need your PayPal email address, what is your shipping address, all of that needs to happen off the thread with a direct message between you and that person. It does not need to be happening in the thread. 1, because we don't need your private information on there, and 2, it will clutter up the thread and make it hard to see like what's actually for sale. So after the first person puts sold, you as the seller clicks on it, initiates the direct message with them, exchange information, whatever you need to do. As soon as you ship that item to them, please come back to the thread and delete your post. That way we know it's gone and we're not trying to like buy things that are already gone. But let's just say it falls through, the person doesn't respond within 48 hours, then you can go to the second person that said sold and initiate a message with them. You want to get this gone as quick as possible. I don't want this to be too much work for you, but go ahead and do that. And again, last step, please go back, delete your original post once you have sold that item so that we aren't wondering, is it sold, is it not? And communicate directly with sellers and buyers. I am not going to be monitoring this, like dealing with disputes and stuff. I'm not an Etsy shop or whatever. Like, this is going to be just, you know, there as a platform, but please, you know, go back and forth among each other. So we're going to try this. I hope that it works out really well. It'll be a space, you know, that hopefully you can actually get your items sold, whereas it's harder if you're on Instagram and, you know, you might not have a lot of knitting followers. So I hope this goes great. Please use it properly so that we can keep it around for a long time. I'm excited about it. All right, let's talk about life. So I have been here in Tennessee now for almost a week. I arrived on a Saturday, tomorrow's Saturday, and I'm leaving tomorrow. What time is it, by the way? Okay, good. So I have had a really good time. It's gone by fast though. We haven't really done anything like crazy, yet I've done everything that I've wanted to do. I've been to the yarn store, I'm going back today. I've been doing a lot of work. I've had like my membership Zoom meetups and everything. I've watched a lot of TLC shows with my parents, eaten a lot of good food, just been taken care of, slept in, all of the good stuff. So I've gotten to see 2 of my brothers out of 3. So that's been really nice. One's in Texas, so he's a little far away. But that's been really good. And so now I am going to be headed home tomorrow, back to busyness. I have a lot of videos to record. Like I told Kent on Sunday, I am going to be busy recording. Sunday and Monday, I'm going to be busy recording videos because I've got a lot to still do to get back on track. Being gone for a week, I have been able to record some stuff here, which you've seen, which is great, but not everything can be recorded away. But I do feel really grateful for the flexibility to just come home for an entire week and bring my work with me. It's been really, really cool. bringing me joy this week. I am beyond excited to be casting on some new projects. I love knitting socks, but I feel like I've been stuck in sock world for about 3 weeks too long. So I'm ready to be starting some new things, learning some new things, maybe having some different challenges. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to have a lot of sweater content coming your way. So look out for that, because it's going to be, you know, you learning alongside me. You know, I always share the truth. So whatever I'm learning, I'm going to be sharing with you as well. So that's it. That's everything. The next time I see you, I'll be back in New York City, hopefully with some great sweater progress to show, some little baby necks and everything, and those will grow into sweaters. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.